Yeah, I'm late. I know I'm late. I had to set some things up. So, guys, we're going to talk about this guy, Commander Lurie, who was just hired by UCLA. Now, I have a long history with Commander Lurie, um, but I also think it's odd that UCLA is hiring him, considering you guys followed those protests that happened back on, I don't know if it was March or April, that got very violent at UCLA. Commander Lurie is the guy who ran the scene for that, and now he's been hired to be their vice chancellor of public safety and stuff. It's the last guy you want, you know, handling your public safety at UCLA. So I want to give you guys some background on Commander Lurie. He's a real degenerate. Um, I've been dealing with him since summer of 2020. I've dealt with him on a lot of issues. He was the captain over here in the Hollywood station, so I dealt with him on that aspect. Unsurprisingly, that I filed a lot of complaints against LAPD officers, and so when the complaints, my initial rounds of complaints, reached the stage where internal affairs had to dispo them, he magically got transferred over to risk management, which handles the fallout of police misconduct and stuff. He handled the PR aspect around one of my false arrests where they arrested me. I've told the story a million times where a homeless guy was throwing stuff in the street. I came over and told him to knock that off. He's like, I'm homeless. And I'm like, well, I mean, nobody's listening to that, nobody's gonna give you sympathy and say, you know what, you're homeless, so you're allowed to throw bottles and furniture at cars and people and stuff. So he went back to his tent. He got a knife and a pole, and I was cleaning up the street. He comes back with it, and I'm like, man, I got better things to do than this. I left. A couple hours later, somebody called the cops on him again, claimed that he was threatening them with the knife and a pole. The cops came, handcuffed him. I came around the corner, saw some cops I've been dealing with for years. He said, "Oh, he that guy right there threatened to burn down his tent." Talking about me. And they arrested me, got $50,000 bail, charged with criminal threats. It was a whole mess. Well, he handled the fallout for that. So I got a lot of, uh, I'm not gonna say anger toward him, but I have no problem getting my lick back against this guy. This is a guy who, when I was in Twitter back in 2020, somebody would ask me questions about a complaint. One person said, "You filed this complaint like 6 months ago. How come it hasn't been dispoed yet?" And I said, "Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. It's still gonna be another 4 to 8 months." And then this guy is dropping in my Twitter. I positive he's drunk, Commander Lurie, talking about, William expects excellence of us, and let's just admit it, William. There is no police department, real or uh, you know, there's no police department that you would ever be satisfied with. And this guy's just a big ass baby. So I want to, and he's worked at USC. And I was angry about that, and I felt that if I had known about him working at USC before he got hired, I could have worked to try to stop them from hiring. So UCLA just hired him. Let me pull that up. Just give me 1 second here. I should have had this ready. Daily Bruin. Let's see what happens here. All right, let me share this with you guys. So Commander Lurie, the ultimate fuck up, the guy who covers up some like weird sexual stuff over at the Hollywood stations. Hollywood station has a long history of, not just sexual misconduct, straight up. We had serial rapists over there that just went to jail 7 years ago, got 25 years apiece, two cops. Well-liked cops too. And yeah, they're doing 25 years apiece. There's a lot of creepy stuff happened. So anyway, so yeah, Steve Lurie was named the new associate vice chancellor for campus and community safety. The office of campus and community safety will soon have a new leader and a new name. Steve Lurie, an LAPD veteran of 27 years, will be the next associate vice chancellor of campus and community safety. leading an office that is less than 9 months old, according to the Tuesday campus-wide email, blah, 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 blah. So Lori's in charge. So here's what I'm going to say. Women on campus, I would like you to see some of these videos of what this guy has been in charge of and handled me personally, and ask yourself, is this a guy that, as a woman, that you should ever feel comfortable with him leading any sort of community safety, right? So, give you background on this story. I've been telling the story for a long time. I haven't pressed the issues yet. I was in the middle. I'm not gonna say I was in the middle. I was preparing to write an article on this and also prepare. First off, is the volume all right? Um, and prepare um, a video documenting the whole situation. This is the creepiest stuff. So it was during COVID when everything was closed, right? So in Hollywood was just empty. People come to Hollywood to come party, come have fun and stuff. Like right now, I mean, listen, you guys have watched our videos of Hollywood Boulevard. You watch Jessica's videos of Hollywood Boulevard. You have an idea of the traffic that's around there. Some days busy, some days none. But during COVID, when all the stores on Hollywood Boulevard were closed down, when the Scientology Test Center, back then, that place was boarded up and they still had a security guard out front for what because it's funny. I actually became friends with that security guard. He now is like that guy recruiting down by the blue building during the daytime. That black guy. I used to be friendly with this guy because he'd always see me out there cop watching. But anyway, back then Hollywood was kind of empty. There was nothing going on. So I was coming home one night. It was like 9 o'clock. I think I was, or eight. No, it was like 9 o'clock. I was trying to make it home because I was going to run to Trader Joe's or Whole Foods real quick. And I saw a police stop right around the block from my house, just right around the corner. And I crept up behind the cop, even though I was sort of standing in plain sight. He didn't see me. He was searching this lady's car. And for a few minutes, he went by without him seeing me. What I noticed is she was missing a plate. So I'm like, okay, it's obvious why he pulled her over. And he's searching the car. Here goes those sirens. And you start hearing those sirens. Um, Once I saw that I had, that he was searching the car, I figured, okay, there's something else going on that would give him probable cause to search the car. Just having a missing license plate is not probable cause to search the car. Here's the thing, right? It's not a misdemeanor. It's not a felony. So it's not a crime. Okay. It's just an infraction. But technically, if a cop wanted to, they could tow your car, but when they tow your car, they can do an inventory search. But he was clearly not towing a lady's car. He was having the lady have somebody pick up her car because I come to find out her license was suspended, right? So she's not allowed to drive the car. Fair enough, right? But I looked at where the car was parked at. It was parked in a parking spot. It was, it's Highland Avenue at the Long Prairie, a block south from Hollywood High School. This is a well-trafficked road. But again, during COVID, everything was closed, so there were no cars there. So it's 2 lanes in each direction and also a parking lane. He had her pulled over in a parking lane right in front of a meter, but the meter did not have to have any money put into it till the next day. That's when parking started at 8 o'clock the next morning. So the reasonable thing is, okay, you can't drive the car, park the car, have somebody come pick it up and drive it. And that seemed to be what they were doing, right? Until abruptly, out of nowhere, when the cop realized that I was there, after he was searching the car, he kind of saw me and he was like, he started acting really, really funny. And he went over to her and he ended up whispering in her ear, or not, I'm not gonna say whispering in her ear, giving her direction in a way that I could not hear the direction. And he was pointing, gesturing, like he was saying, go past that light, then go past the next light, then go past the next light. Next thing I know, she got into her car and she starts driving off. I He started following right behind her. And I'm like, okay, that's weird because she has a suspended license, so she's not supposed to drive the car. Why is she following behind him? Why is he putting her back in the car? And why is he following behind him? So I'm looking down the street and there was a guy who was there. I've never seen a guy again, a white guy with long ponytail or a long hair, not ponytail. And he looked at me and he's like, "Something's weird here." I'm like, "I know something is not right." So I was just scoping. I have good eyesight for long distances like that. And I was seeing where they went, and they went all the way down to Santa Monica Boulevard, which is a good distance from DeLong Pre. It's a long block down to Fountain. Then it's another long block down to Lexington. Then it's another long block down to Santa Monica Boulevard. And then from there, they made a right. I hopped on a scooter and I started chasing behind them, trying to catch up. When I hung a right, I went past a block down, past Citrus. I went 3 blocks down Highland, made a right. Went another block down, looked at Citrus, didn't see him. Went the next block down, looked on Mansfield, didn't see him. And I went the next block down, and it's like a construction site, and nobody's gonna be parked over there because you can't park over there. It's a big ass construction site. And it's a dark street. And I looked and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why does he have her parked right here? He had her pull all the way around there. I'm telling you guys, this is a good distance away. And why did he have her pull in here? And I think he didn't, and they were kind of hiding behind a trailer. When they have those construction type trailers where they use as an office or whatever, they had that in the street. So they were shielded in one direction by that trailer. And they were parked in a no parking zone at a construction site in Dark Street. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why would you bring her over here? She's not supposed to drive the car. Obviously, she got a suspended license. But why would you have her drive all the way over here? What are you doing? So I'm like, this is creepy. Is he going to do something to her? And I'm thinking, but his partner is a female. But I'm like, I don't know. This is creepy. So listen, let me show you what happened here. Show you this. I see here in LA is up in here. He's probably familiar with this story. He's been following me on Twitter from the beginning. So he knows this story very well. I've always been pissed off about this for a number of reasons. They tried to arrest me over this story. I'll explain that later. Let me pull up the original video. Let's see here. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. Let me expand that. Let's get rid of this. Share screen. All right. So let me just show you this real quick. Hold on 1 second. This is the raw video of what I shot. Back then, I filmed on vertical rather than horizontal, and you learn over time. Jesus Christ, what's taking me so long? Here we go. All right. It's the right video now. So you guys look at this and you decide for yourself, right? I've explained this to a lot of people. I don't think anybody has ever said, wow, I feel comfortable with what I saw there. It's kind of crazy. And it is kind of crazy. All right. I finally got it here. All right. So this is on Highland. I'm going to play the video. This is when I first pulled up. So he doesn't even realize I'm there. He still doesn't realize I'm there. You see, but there's no player in the car. He's searching the car. He still doesn't see me, right? Let me fast forward a little bit. He got out of the car. He's still right here. He still doesn't even see me. Like, how does he not see me? So he's talking to her, and I don't know what he's talking about, right? So he's got to pull out of the car. Like I said, she has a suspended license, she can't drive. You figure you just give her a ticket, tell her to park the car, have somebody come pick it up, and go about your business, right? Well, come to find out, like I said, he told her he's writing the ticket here. He told her to have somebody come pick it up, and her father is going to come pick up the car. Now, my whole thing is, why do you just leave the car? Why do you have to go through all this and wait for somebody to come pick up the car? But you know what? Because it's parked legally right where it's at. Fast forward. Find the exact spot. All right. So here he's talking to her again. Like I said, he told her to have somebody come pick up the car. Wasting time. This is where it gets interesting. He starts looking at me real funny. Where's the board at? He starts talking to his partner about something. Then he starts giving her directions. All right, this is the part. He walks over to her and he starts talking to her, right? And the thing I start noticing is the hand gestures, right? Right now, he starts pointing like he's trying to explain to her where he wants to go. So he's like, go past that light, giving her directions. And like directions to where, right? So I'm wondering what's going to happen next. It's not really making sense to me. But lo and behold, he has her get into the car and has her drive away. All right. So my thing is like, why are you doing this? Why are you having her drive away? That was the guy who was with me. He looked at me like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know.
Thanks
And
a
so
lot, man.
he follows behind her, right? So um what happens is, like I said, I go onto a scooter and I follow behind them and try to find where they're going to. Let me pull this up. So I actually go to the other scene and find them. I'm going to show you how dark this street is. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you over here? Hold on. Where did I do with that video? Where'd that go? If you guys are from Hollywood, and matter of fact, I talked about this with here in LA before. This right next to where, what was the name of that place? Shakey's used to be on Santa Monica. That's sort of the prostitution hub back then. That is that little street right there. It's like a prostitution hub. So why would you take her there? All right, let me find this. Let me find the other video of him being a creep. All right, there's a second location right here. Let me pull that up. All right. So rewind that. So like I said, I went all that distance away and I pull up on a scooter and I found them. Now, again, they're next to a construction zone, and in front of her is that you see him right there with his head? He's tilting his head back. He's like, "Fuck, man. He found us. He found us."
Huh.
And then that's the other guy pulled up in his car who was with me, the
Just
white
one
guy.
moment.
And we're looking like, "What the fuck is this about?" Right? So why would you let me take this, get rid of this for a second. Why would you, when you have a woman in a well-lit area, move her to a different location? Again, it's a good distance away, but he did it in a way that he went down the street, then he went over, and then he went, up the street because there was a trailer there where if I came in normal, the usual direction, I would not be able to see that she was there. And on top of it, I think this is key. Let me show you this again. It's a dark street. He doesn't even have his yellow lights on. Let me see if I can capture that. I don't know if the video captures it well. This police car has their regular headlights on, but they don't even have even the caution lights on. They're parked in an illegal parking spot.
It didn't
The
have
towaway
lights
zone.
added.
And then here's another thing, like, she got out of the car and she was she was changing her skirt outside of the car. Like, I didn't or it was weird, man. It was weird. Didn't make sense to me. But what I did know is, again, she does not have a driver's license, so she shouldn't be driving. You told her to get back in operation of the vehicle, and that's called an illegal order. It's an illegal order. If you're ordering somebody to do something illegal, that's an illegal order, right? On top of it, just fucking creepy. I don't think we want a situation where male cops can pull over a woman, have her get out of the car, then put her back into the car, give her directions to come to the other side of the neighborhood for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason was. So I was pissed off and I went and filed a complaint. Oh no, I didn't file a complaint at first. I wanted to get answers. I went to the station and I talked to Sergeant Deneen. If you guys, I dealt with Sergeant Deneen a good amount over the years. If you remember, if you follow the Scientology stuff, when we protested at USC Shrine back a year ago, he was the officer that was running the scene that day. And he's the one when we were in the street, the one motorcycle cop, he was like, "Well, they can't stand in the street." And Deneen was like, "No, just let them. They want to stand in the street. They can do that." The guy is sort of chill. I actually say he's a decent guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. And within reason. And so I went and talked to him, and at the station, he was the watch commander, and I said, "What the hell is this? Why would your officer put her back in the car and have her go to the other side of the neighborhood with him? Why would he do that?" And I'm like, "Do you recommend women do that?" And he said, "No, I don't recommend women do that. You should just stay where you are." And I was like, "Exactly, you should stay where you want." So he said that he was going to investigate it, talk to the officer, Officer Nicholas Escoval, no longer with the LAPD. I'm telling you, there's a reason for that. I can get into that later. He he went and talked to him, and the officer told. I got a phone call from Deneen later, and he said, "I talked to the officer, and he said the reason he moved her was because there was a code 3 call, which is like a lights and sirens call, an emergency, and he wanted to go to that call, so he wanted to bring her into the other side of the neighborhood so he can let her go there." I'm like, Why would he? You're gonna have. She was parked in a no parking zone. That's where he took her to, a no parking zone. You want to have her parked there on the other side of the neighborhood, the prostitution area, the dark street? Does that make any sense? It makes no sense whatsoever. Where she was parked on a major street under a light. in a legal parking spot. She could stay right there. She did not have to move, but yet he moved her because he wanted to respond to another call that was an emergency. But all that time that it took right there, and when I got to the scene, I'm telling you, this video right here, when I got to that second scene, it is, let me share it with you. This video is 23 minutes long. So he took her to the other area. And remember, I got there a few minutes after that. He took her to the other area and he had her there for 23 minutes. What sense does that make? A code 3 call is something that you need to get to within the next 60 seconds to 2 minutes. Somebody has a knife, somebody has a gun. And actually, the code 3 call, I went and looked it up. It was somebody with a knife. Well, I gotta tell you, a lot of other cops got there before you did. That's a bullshit excuse to say you moved her because of that. Later on, they changed their story. I actually have a recording on that of the complaint supervisor when I talked to him when he explained that, and I'm gonna play that recording for you. But first, I'm going to let me pull this back up again. I'm going to show you what happened when I went to the police station to talk to the watch commander about this. Let me see. 1 second here, guys. Eventually, I'll get used to this, and I won't be fumbling around. It'll also help if I prepared. Normally you'd probably have all the pages ready to go and stuff. I'm always like, man, listen, it was a struggle I'm tired as hell. And so I didn't even think I was going to go live today. I was like, I need to get some sleep. But here we are. Oh, just upload. Here we go. Sergeant Denis. 1 second here, guys. Just expand this a little bit. Is that? Oh man, what did I do with it, guys? Here we go. Stop that screen. Add a new one. All right. So this is when I went to the station. I talked to Sergeant Deneen.
Here and so I didn't know. I was ready to go home until I lucked out and saw that scene, and I'm like, wow, this is so far away. And I totally, if it was my wife, my girlfriend, my niece, my daughter, I'd be like infuriated. And so I started thinking about it more. I started thinking about my girlfriend. She has to go to work. What do I do? Do I tell her, hey, he pulls you over, go to the second scene? I just.
Well, no, I would tell any citizen, if you get pulled over, just stay where you are. But my guess is, and I don't.
You guys able to hear that? I don't know if it's coming through. I'm hoping that the volume goes through. Okay, you can hear it. So listen to what he said. He said his advice. Let's hear that again, right?
My guess is, and I don't know, for them to go, if you get pulled over, just stay where you are.
You hear that? Stay where you are. If you get pulled over, stay where you are. Don't have a cop take you to another other side of the neighborhood, anywhere. What are we doing here? Right? Especially listen, as a woman too. This is happening to a woman. You're gonna have her follow a male cop to the other side of the neighborhood. I'm sorry, that's not right. Now let's listen to his excuse. 1 second here.
And I don't know, for them to go there, I would hope that she was the one asking because she lives over there. Because I don't know why an officer would leave, especially for us. If you're in a well-lit spot, that's good for us.
Yeah.
Now you hear that, guys? You hear that? He's like, if it happens, don't go. Not to mention when she was in a well-lit area, that's good for cops. That's good for their own protection, right? And so, yeah, I was bothered by that, right? I was very frustrated. So what I did then is my next move was And this is where this story of Commander Lurie, the guy who was hired by UCLA, this is when I reached out to Commander Lurie, or he was captain back then, and asked him about, I was asking basic questions that I think are reasonable questions. Let me pull them up for you. Essentially stuff like, what should a person do when they're in this situation? And he was just super evasive. He didn't want to answer everything, and he was just combative and a real fucking dick, honestly. Let me see if I can find this. All right. Just want to do this in a way where I'm not exposing my whole email. All right. I can add this. I don't think this will be a problem to show. Okay. No, hold on. All right. I'm not good about emails. I got 1900 to go through. But anyway, I asked him, Commander Lurie. I misspelled his name by accident, but this was back on, when was this? September 14th, 2020. So I'm waiting to formally request guidance, understanding of troubled vehicle stop by one of your officers. I came upon the stop on Friday, 9/4/2020 on Highland at the corner of DeLongpre. A young female driver was moved from the car, ticketed for a suspended license, and told she required to have someone pick up the car for her, being that she was prohibited from driving due to her suspended driver's license. The driver had someone en route to pick up the car. After 20 minutes, video shows the officer providing a lengthy instruction to the young lady with the suspended license. Was told to get back into her car to operate it and then to drive to a second location. Another witness and I tracking the police car, but after a block and a half, the officer turned off his yellow lights. I forgot that. Wait, forgot that. So when I was following behind him, I could track the cars, but at a certain point, he actually cut off his yellow lights as he's driving behind her. Like he didn't want anybody to see where they were going to. So I mean, that's troubling. I've shown this video to numerous people in the neighborhood. The general feeling is that people are horrified at the perception or potential of an officer possibly doing something even more improper than making a driver with a suspended license break the law by driving to a second location. It's true. I'm gonna tell you right now. Talked to a number of women in my neighborhood. Back then I was always going to Starbucks, and the girls that worked in there had to go work at 4:30 in the morning, and I asked them what they were freaked out. They're like, "What should I do if I get pulled over? Should I go? Should I, if I refuse to go, will I get arrested?" It was freaking people out in my neighborhood. And me, how I take care of my neighborhood, and so I had questions. And look at the questions. Questions is, should an officer direct any vehicle to a second location on the other side of the neighborhood during a traffic stop? If yes, is it acceptable for an officer to require a driver with a suspended driver's license nearly 3/4 of a mile to the second location during a stop? Is it acceptable for an officer to have the driver with a suspended license get back into the car to drive at all? If an officer requests a driver leave the location of the stop to go to a second location 3/4 of a mile away, should drivers comply or should they refuse? If a driver is pulled over and told she cannot operate the vehicle and they need someone to pick up the car and drive her home, is it acceptable for the officer to then make the lady move her car to the other side of the neighborhood? Is there any logistical or logical reason an officer would direct unlicensed driver to go to a second location 3/4 of a mile away on a dark, desolate street if there is a well-lit gas station a half block away? And I think that's important, right? So why did you have her move there? He could have went one block down. You know what's over there? There's a gas station. Why don't you have her pull into the gas station parking lot? Just parking there. Next to that is a Jack in the Box. Why don't you pull into the Jack in the Box parking lot? You go past that a block to the corner of Santa Monica, whatever. Just go through the intersection. There's a big parking lot, Exxon parking lot, or is it Mobile? I don't know. But if you are making the right, you go a block down to Citrus. It's a storage facility right there. It's actually well lit. Why don't you have her park there? Why did he choose the darkest fucking street in the neighborhood to go to? So, like I said, I had questions. I sent them the videos of what happened. And I said, so he sent me an email back. This is Commander Lurie, the guy, ladies over in UCLA. This is the guy. Look at this attitude that he gave me. He said, film the police since you appear unwilling to give your name, right? So, like, what is all that snarky shit? Since you appear to unwilling to give your name. You know me, I don't really give a fuck. I just didn't give my name at that time. My email was film the police LA. I just made it. This is back, like I said, it's 2020, and I just put in film the police LA as a name. So this guy's just something. I saw your multitude of posts regarding this stop, and I thank you for bringing it to our attention because it is now subject of a formal personnel complaint. I am afraid I can't discuss it. So, guys, I talk about this all the time, right? The minute a complaint is filed, the LAPD can then say, we cannot discuss this. It's under investigation. Anything that's under investigation, they don't have to discuss. They don't even have to give out the cop's name. They don't have to give anything after that. That's why I always go through certain steps before I file a complaint. I don't just do it off the rip. I beat around the bush, but I do it in a way where I don't detail any sort of misconduct. Maybe hypotheticals, maybe some around about things, but I don't give any details about it to avoid this. And so, yeah, so there's that. But let's get back to this snarky son of a bitch. As to your larger issue regarding trust in the LAPD, I do have some perspective. Oh, yeah, because I forgot. Let me go back to that. Because I had said providing answers promptly would go a long way towards retaining the community's trust and to avoid any unnecessary fear in our community of the local LAPD police force. It's reasonable, right? I think that's reasonable to say, hey, you know what? I need some answers so that people don't lose trust in the police. I didn't even come at them sideways. I was just stating the obvious. So, like I said, he responds, like I said, as for your larger issue regarding the trust in LAPD, I do have some perspective. I have been in this business for 23 years. Oh God, here comes the flex. Here comes the flex. I have worked in Bel Air and in Watts. So give a fuck. What does that have to do with you? Give me some information about this. And many places in between. Guys, he's done it all. This is Commander Lurie. You see this guy's a snob, right? Cops have told me that he's a snob. Actually, I'll bring up a screenshot of a message I received from a cop talking about their experiences with him. Now he's a piece of shit. I'll get to that later. I have commanded 2 different divisions. Not 1, but 2. Okay. I can assure you the officers in Hollywood. Wait, hold on here, guys. The wrong button. He said, not 1, but 2. Where is that at? Where is it? There he is. Like I said, I have commanded 2 different divisions. I'm Steve Lurie. Right? Tough guy. I can assure you that the officers in Hollywood are among the best I have known. Ethical, courageous, fair, hardworking, dedicated, altruistic, and compassionate. Shut the fuck up. I asked questions about why this cop took this woman to the other side of the neighborhood, and this guy is just going on with this whole diatribe of puffery and bullshit. Shut the fuck up, Steve. You are an idiot. You see the type of person I'm dealing with. Who talks like this? Do they make mistakes? Of course. I know they make mistakes. You don't have to tell me. And when they do, we address swiftly. Guys, do you feel that the LAPD has ever addressed anything swiftly when it comes to the police misconduct? I'm saying, I think that I have documented enough videos over the years to show that that is full of shit. Shut the hell up. I have also observed, especially in 12 months or so, that the vast majority of our community trusts and values the police. Our community, you don't live over here. The fuck are you talking about? You don't live here. I know where you live. No, you live. You live over in like Pico. What are you talking about? I take offense, guys. He takes offense. I take offense to your supposition that the people of Hollywood, especially women, in your words, yeah, my words, have any lack of trust in their police force. This may be true among your, I love this part. This may be true among your 871 followers on social media. Because back then I had just started my, I had Twitter account, I had 871 followers. I didn't just start my Twitter account. I had it for years, but I would just go on there to go look at football stuff and talk some politics and shit. I was mostly a lurker, right? And I just said, fuck, I'm gonna start using this for police stuff because I did. So he says this might be true among your 871 followers on Twitter. I mean, come on, this guy, what kind of dickhead? What kind of dickhead talks like this? Because he felt like his hot shit. He had 2,000 followers back then. I think he probably still has 2,000. I wonder how many I have now. But I can assure you that it is not a pervasive feeling in the community. That said, I am always available 24/7 to meet you or any member of the community and discuss my philosophy on community-based policing. Oh, shut the fuck up, Steve. Shut the fuck up. I came to you. Close this out. I came to you and I said, this fucking cop took a woman to the other side of the community without any real fucking reason. And this is just more than just this incident. You also have to think about the precedents. The precedents you're setting. What should women do? I'm asking you, what should the fuck should they do? Should they move or not? And rather than that, he sit there and he goes off on this bullshit. talking, I mean, like a real asshole. Anyway, let me pull this back up again. So I emailed him back and I said, Steven, you're smart enough to know you shouldn't equate social media followers, which are concentrated outside the community, and actual people in the community. Since you do not live in the community, it seems quite ridiculous to seem to believe that you have a better feel for the community than those of us that have lived here over a decade, guys. Do you think that any guy who's sitting there in his fortress in that brick building in Hollywood Station, who doesn't live in Hollywood, who doesn't go out among the community in any real way, do you think he has a better feel than me when it comes to my neighborhood? My neighborhood? Please. I said, you can take offense as much as you want, but I'm not looking for answers regarding the officer's actions. I'm asking what the people, particularly women, should do if they are put in a position of being asked to go to a second location. I wasn't asking about whether the cop committed misconduct or not. I was asking if they are put in this position. Guys, aren't these reasonable questions? Am I acting like a dick? You know how I can act like a dick. I can get real fucking... But I'm asking, I'm like, listen, I'm not talking about the officer's actions. I'm talking about what women should do when they are put in this situation. What should they do? So make clear, let me pull something up. So make clear what exactly people should do if officers pull someone over and request they go to a second location. If you are not courageous enough to provide the answers, let us know. But you've shown a penchant for covering for officers rather than respecting the community. If you actually got into the community, you would know. And then Lurie emailed me back. And he said, as I stated, I cannot comment on a complaint investigation. I didn't ask about the complaint investigation. You see what I'm saying, guys? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm dealing with? I'm asking what women should do if, I'm not even talking about this situation. I'm talking about Woman gets pulled over, man gets pulled over, anybody gets pulled over, and a cop says, get back in your car, come over here. I want you to go over here to the darkest fucking street in the neighborhood. I'm gonna follow right behind you. What should they do? What should they do? And rather than answer, he says, I can't answer any questions, but I would expect any member of our community to obey a lawful order from a uniformed officer. If they feel uncomfortable, they have several options. Okay, finally, we got options. They can request the officers summon a supervisor to the scene. If they do not want to ask the officers there, they can dial 911. Oh yeah, hell yeah. They can record the encounter on their smartphone. They could comply and then file a complaint via phone, email, social media, or in person at the LAPD station. So guys, right after the cop takes you to the second location and does whatever he does over there, then you can go ahead and file a complaint afterwards. It just like, yeah, he took advantage of me, but I'm here to file a complaint and get my justice. But I noticed he said they should comply with any lawful order. And I said, should a citizen obey an unlawful order from one of your officers? Additionally, since you claim the matter has been sent to Internal Affairs, I'd like receipt of proof. Then he said, may I have your name and or contact phone number for the formal complaint? If not, you may remain anonymous and remain as film the police, and we can send you the email to reach out. Have a great afternoon and blah, blah, blah. What did I say here? So well, you can look at that. That's my old phone number. And yeah, and then I sent him another email back. I said, hi, Steve. You haven't stated whether a citizen should obey an unlawful order by a police officer. Please advise. He never emailed me back. He didn't say anything. Come on, man. I just want to know give me some advice. Please advise on what a person should do in this situation. And he really, he gave me, call 911. Guys, cop tells you to go to another location, call 911. You can say, let me speak to your supervisor. What if he says no? But you got to protect yourself on the spot. You got to think about your own goddamn safety. They're not worried about your damn safety. Not if they're going to make you get back into a car and drive to the darkest street in the neighborhood. So anyway, then from there, let's pull this up. Then from there, I got a phone call from complaint supervisor Chow. This was about 9 months later. 9 months later, got a phone call with Chow, and he just called me to talk about some whole other stuff, and he decided on his own to volunteer some information. I didn't even ask about this case. He decided to give me an update on it. And so I want you guys to hear what he said in this update. Okay, hold on. Present. Share screen. What is this? Get rid of that. 40. All right, here we go. I put this together real quick a little while ago. It has captions on it. I ran it through the auto captions. I didn't make any corrections to spelling, so don't be surprised. But it's all about listening to what's being said here. Okay, so again, I got the phone call. Let me know if you can hear this.
Feel free to, if something else pops up, the one that comes to mind is, and I know you got to go, but I'll make it really quick. That the complaint you made against Esquivel about the woman who drove her car to a dark spot on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah.
That one was already closed out as well. And I'll tell you, it was, since you likely won't get the reply letter for a while. That one was actually non-disciplinary as well, and that was with very reasonable explanation in that that woman did not have a valid driver's license.
Sure.
And at the time she stopped her vehicle. She actually stopped in the traffic lane
She
on
wasn't.
Highland Avenue.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't. She was in a parking lane.
Now you see the bullshit he's doing right there. He's like, no, well, you had to move her because she was parked in the traffic lane. She wasn't. You guys, I can go back and show you the video again. She was she was pulled over in a parking lane at a meter, completely legally parked where she was pulled over at. Fix that. So he's lying here. That's what he's doing. He's lying, saying that he had to move her because she was illegally parked. And listen, so let's say, for instance, she was blocking the traffic lane. There's a fix for that, right? It's really simple. You get into the car, turn the wheels a little bit, and pull over along the curb. But regardless, she was legally parked. She was not blocking a traffic lane. So hold on a second here. Damn, I didn't even show you that part. Okay.
There'll be plenty of cars.
Thought I was
parked
sharing
there.
that with
That's
you
where
guys.
everybody parks at night.
Let me pull that back again. Like I said, I get better.
That Highland Avenue, like I can walk out my house right now and throw a baseball and hit that spot. I know the area. I park over there at night. It was at 9 o'clock at night. It wasn't. It was a parking lane. If I go there tonight at 9 o'clock, there will be plenty of cars parked there. That's where everybody parks at night.
But the officer chose whether or not she was actually blocking the lane.
She wasn't.
But the officer directed her to pull her car forward around the corner.
Around the corner. They drove 2/3 of a mile. They went from.
Guys, he's told her he had her pull the car up around the corner. That's not what happened. She wasn't pulled up around the corner. She was taking the other side of goddamn. Charles Patrick knows. You know the neighborhood. To go from over on Highland and DeLongpre over to where Shakey's used to be, which is now like that Tesla charging center. That's not up around the corner. Play this again.
From
I know.
DeLongpre. Listen to this. They went from DeLongpre and Highland over to Orange and Santa Monica, and he cut off his yellow lights while trailing her.
I know, and that was no fault of the officer. He
No fault. He said no fault. It's no fault of the officer that he put her back in the car and had her ride to the other side of the neighborhood. It's not the officer's fault. Of course, let's find out. Play it again.
His yellow lights while trailing her.
I know, and that was no fault of the officer. He did not give her specific directions.
Why would he give her directions? Why would he put a woman who has a suspended license back in operation of a vehicle? The reason why I brought this up is I've had multiple sergeants that work with me anonymously have told me that was out of policy all the way around. So I think that's going to be a little ridiculous.
It wasn't that it was out of policy. It was that the officer.
It's an illegal order.
Have given her. Well, he shouldn't have directed her.
He put her in operation of a vehicle that she wasn't supposed to be in. He should have told her.
You're absolutely right. He should not have told her to move her car, but he did.
Wait, you hear that, guys? He should not have made her move her car, but he did. And the reason why he's telling me this is because my complaint, they did not sustain it. They didn't sustain a complaint. They let this guy off, even though he is here admitting that he should not have put her back in operation of the vehicle. He should not have done that, but he did. Now, first, remember, he was kind of blaming it on her. And then he's like, well, no, he shouldn't have done it, but we're not going to hold him accountable for that. Of all the things not to hold a cop accountable for. Anyway, let's go back to this.
And he could have, I think it was partly because where the position that he stopped her vehicle, the police vehicle was blocking the traffic lane.
So now it's okay. So his vehicle was blocking the traffic lane. His vehicle. So there's a fix for that also. Here's the fix for this, guys. The woman's parked legally, but the cop car behind it is slightly out in traffic. First off, who cares? There's no traffic out there. It was the middle of COVID. If you watch the videos, there might have been like 3 cars that went by during the course of 20 minutes. But there's a fix. He can just pull back, reverse, and then slide right behind her. That's the fix. That seems more reasonable than having somebody who has a suspended driver's license put her back in operation of the vehicle, move her to the other side of the neighborhood to a dark ass street and have her park in a towaway zone. I mean, come on, what are we doing here? The rationale of these people. Do you see what I'm dealing with? This is what I deal with every fucking day.
No, I saw the whole. There was no traffic. It was Friday. Well, not only that, I mean, to go 2/3 of the mile, there were a million other places he could have pulled her into. There was a gas station a block away.
I know.
There was a fast food restaurant.
She was kind of clueless. She was kind of clueless.
It's her fault. She was clueless. Clueless about what? What? She took his directions. He was clueless. I can't take it, man. See what I deal with, guys?
I guess, and he didn't give her specific.
All the more reason why he should not have put her back in operation of the vehicle.
You're right.
You hear that, guys? I'm right. I'm right. I'm right. He agreed I'm right. So why the fuck didn't you sustain a complaint? Why? I'm right. Finally got him to say that. You see the work you have to put in to get these people to admit shit?
Like that, I mean, to go 2/3 of the mile, there were a million other places he could have pulled her into. There was a gas station a block away.
I know.
There was a fast food restaurant.
She was kind of clueless. I guess, and he didn't give her specific.
All the more reason why he should not have put her back in operation of the vehicle.
You're right. I completely agree, William. I'm just trying to explain to you what the circumstances were.
Yeah, thank you for explaining to me. You explained to me a load of horse shit. That's what you're explaining to me. I can explain this to you.
I wouldn't have done what he did, but what he did was not nefarious.
Oh, there you go, guys. Right? That's the boundaries now, right? You can do out of policy shit, illegal shit, as long as the cops don't feel it's truly nefarious. You know, remember last night we were talking about Philip Ruiz, and they said, you know, he beat his wife one time, got suspended, beat her again, but they said, you know, that doesn't constitute a pattern because he does it against the same woman. It would, if he had done it against other women, then it'd been a different story. But since it's, my God, I can't take these people, man. And
the thing is, he told the other Sergeant Deneen, that he moved her not because she was blocking a traffic lane. He told her he was moving her because he wanted to respond to a code 3 call. I have Sergeant Deneen on tape telling me that. So I mean, he's telling
Now, guys, this is one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. When Sergeant Deneen called me back the night when I originally inquired about it 9 months before, he told me that he moved her because he was going to respond to a code 3 call. I thought I was recording the call, and I wasn't actually recording. Early on in my cop watching, I had a tendency to think I'm recording, and I'm not. That was one of 2 conversations that I've had with the LAPD on phone. I've had a million of them where I did not record it. my whole thing is, again, first off, there is a law in California that says you have to both parties on the phone have to be notified if it's being recorded, but there are exceptions. And a couple exceptions are, first off, a police officer has no right to privacy while making a phone call in an office. Two, there's no expectation of privacy if there's a likelihood the person who is on the phone recording is recording you. If there's just a likelihood, again, I'm filming the police LA. There's a likelihood I'm recording this. Three, people have a right to receipt when dealing with the government. I'm getting an official explanation about the situation. I have a right to receipt. So but like I said, the other cop said it was a code 3 call, and now they're saying, well, she was blocking the street, so we had to move her across the damn country. There we go. That's the thing, guys. Hold on. I thought I was sharing it. I guess I'm not. Let me go back over it again.
Was
No, I know you posted a video of your interaction with Sergeant Deneen. I don't remember off the top of my head what was said in that conversation. But,
the only thing I posted, because I didn't really want to get too much into it with Deneen, the only thing I posted to Deneen was, if a person was in that position, a woman, and an officer told her to get back in a vehicle and drive to another location, should you do it? And he said, don't go. That's the only thing I posted.
No, I would say the same thing.
I agree. And so for this not to be, and especially, you got to understand, we all know what happened with that conviction in 2018 with the 2 Hollywood cops who got 25 years apiece. Understanding that, I am not,
those officers,
I am not in any way
those
accusing
officers
Escobar of doing that, but the perception of it, and the perception
Right.
with no penalty associated with that is sort of outrageous from a public perspective.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I worked here at Hollywood long enough to where I remember those 2 officers. I was shocked when that was revealed. Like I said, there's that 1% of officers that make us look really bad. That is a
1%, guys.
Extreme example.
Guys, just 1%. Just 1%. It's 1% of officers. And first off, I gotta tell you, it's hard to get them to even say 1%. It's much higher than that.
And I'm glad they're serving 25 years in prison. That's exactly where they should
Talking about
be.
Hollywood cops.
You do something like that, whether you're a cop or
raping
not,
women
you
on
deserve to
duty
be in prison.
So let me ask you, with this Escobar one, was that sustained no penalty, or was that found unfounded?
I don't know I know that it was not sustained. I believe it was non-disciplinary with training. I don't know off the top of my head, but like I said, I bring that up because I know that you had reposted that and retweeted that incident a couple times on your Twitter page, and that one just popped into my head about.
So he went and just volunteered that information. He took it upon himself. He was like, let me tell you about this one where we really screwed you over and did some disrespectful shit. He brought it up. So I'm like, at that point, I'm infuriated. So I took this interaction, this video, the audio, and I was posting this. I was posting it about trying to expose on how corrupt the LAPD is, how corrupt the complaint process is. So that got me in trouble. What kind of trouble did it get me in? Not long after that, I got a letter from, I'm going to try to pull it up right now. I have it on my phone. I don't have it on the computer. I got a letter from the city attorney, and they decided they were considering to prosecute me for recording that conversation. So rather than focus on the fact this cop did some illegal shit and all this stuff, they were focused on trying to get me arrested for recording that conversation, because God forbid the public sees what these cops are doing. And who was the one who was pushing to get me prosecuted? Commander Lurie, the guy who's running. First off, the guy who did not take seriously what the cop did, bringing a woman to the other side of the neighborhood, mocking me, right? Just being condescending as hell. And then he oversaw this complaint where it was found not sustained. He gave the final sign off on that. So that's Commander Lurie. Everybody at UCLA, women at UCLA, ask yourself, is this the type of guy that you want handling your safety, your security on campus? Is this guy, you know, the way he did not take seriously how women feel about this? Again, I talked to all the women in my neighborhood. They're freaked out. They're freaked out by this. They're like, what the fuck? And then the LAPD did not sustain it. And so I went through a lot more with Lurie. When I got arrested one time, like I said, he handled the PR on that. Initially, they did not want to release the body cam footage, but LA Times kept on pressing him and pressing him. And they said that they didn't want to release it to LA Times because they said, well, you know, it's not necessarily in the public interest. And he's like, the writer, Kevin Rector for LA Times, he's like, I write for the LA Times. I have a good feeling that it's in the public interest. My social media is blowing up with people trying to get answers about it, and you didn't want to release the body cam footage. And then, like right before Thanksgiving, he sent me an email, Lurie, like 3:00 in the morning. He's like, so letting you know that we're going to be releasing body cam footage tomorrow. They released it, and it was fucking edited up. They left out all the, I mean, it was incriminating enough. They couldn't clean it up, but they edited out all the fucking stuff, right? Cop was pretending like he didn't even know who I was, who arrested me, even though I filed a complaint against him a week before. He knew exactly who I was. You think I, you know, me, I kind of stand out, right? I don't look the same as everybody else out here. You didn't recognize, he knew exactly who the fuck I was. Lurie handled that. Lurie handled the cover up of a lot of different things. Lurie is just a damn problem. Lurie is cocky and full of himself. And this is the guy who's now handling the safety for students at UCLA. Now, again, I want to show you something. I want to show you why it's actually ridiculous that this guy should be handling security at UCLA. Again, do you remember earlier this year? No, it was earlier last year. They had that protest at UCLA, and they had the encampment there, and it was attacked by anti-Palestine protesters. And for hour after hour after hour, those kids, students, were getting their asses beat, heads split open, hands smashed, heads smashed. It was pepper sprayed like crazy. I was getting, if you guys watched my live stream, I have a live stream of that where I live stream for about 7 hours. And I'm telling you, for 4.5 hours, the cops didn't even the cops got there within like 2 hours, but they didn't move. They didn't do shit for hours after that. They just allowed the attack to happen. They allowed it. They watched it happen. They knew it was going to happen beforehand because I knew it was going to happen beforehand. I went there that day. I was there the night before. I was inside. They invited me inside the encampment to document stuff, right? Not many people had access inside of it. And the anti-Palestine protesters tried to storm it, and there was some violence and stuff. And everybody knew the next night was going to be crazy. Like, everybody knew the next night was going to be violent as shit. Commander Lurie was in charge of setting up patrols in the area earlier today and preparing for this, and he didn't properly prepare. He didn't. And anybody who watched that, anybody who was there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to say this. The kids in the encampment, they didn't complain that the cops didn't come. I know nobody actually got inside the encampment. They held their own, But at the same time, again, this is a guy who was. I'm gonna show you. This is the guy who was handling the scene. Let's look at this. I saw him there. There he is.
Oh, that's Commander Lurie right there. Great job tonight, Commander. Great job, Lurie. Great job. Great job, Lurie. Great job. Lurie, big fucking head Lurie right there. The guy who's running the whole show tonight, Lurie, his punk ass, that dirty piece of shit. The guy who defends. Yeah, Lurie's a piece.
And I think it's important, guys. They were shooting off fireworks and stuff. Like, since when it takes you that long to come after shooting off fireworks? After they were, I think there were like something like 60, 70 911 calls. Where were you at?
Late. He's the biggest back to blue asshole there is with his big fucking head. Great job tonight, Lurie. Great fucking job. Way to sit around while I watch 200 fucking assaults happen. That's Steve Lurie right there. And he's the guy, he protects this sexual fucking assault.
And that's the thing, right? I remember, like I said, about 2 hours into the attack, I saw cops pulling up with their lights on. And if you guys, a lot of you guys watched it along with me, that video of this fireworks exploding. I was watching journalists getting just completely bear maced and were running for their damn lives. It was crazy. And the police response to me was shameful.
This one was out there and said nobody cares about it except for your Twitter followers. That's what he.
Yeah.
So that's big fucking head Lurie. Lurie, I'm gonna fucking embarrass you.
Slow. Keep him slow.
You don't have to hit me on my back.
If you're in the middle, you gotta move. Gotta go.
I'm gonna move. Just don't fucking hit me. Damn, I wish I went with the LAPD side because I want to see Lurie's punk ass.
This place was chaos that night. It was chaos.
Sorry.
I don't even know I'm watching you. I hear everybody coughing because there was so much bear spray in there.
Great job tonight, Lurie. Great job. Big fucking head Lurie. Commander Lurie.
I don't even know what the point of watching that. All right. So anyway, the guy who bungled that response and allowed all that violence to happen is now in charge of campus security. All I gotta say is people at UCLA, students at UCLA, parents of students at UCLA, you should really question if this was the proper appointment to the campus. This is a guy who, again, doesn't seem to really care about cops doing some potentially sexual type stuff against victims, and a guy who allows violence to happen on campus unchecked, hour after hour after hour. This the guy you want running your campus? On top of it, while we're at it, I showed you that if you look at my thumbnail of this video, let me see here. Let me get rid of that. If you look at the thumbnail, let me pull this up. Let's see here. Share screen. Let's see if fuck. Guess I can't pull that out. Let me drop that in here. I'm going to show you. He's got a picture with his good buddy. Who he was this person's right-hand man. I don't know how to do it, but he's the right-hand man of a guy named Corey Palka. Guys, ever heard of Corey Palka? Corey Palka was captain at Hollywood. They were captains together at Hollywood. And Lurie was over there, I believe, at the same time that Corey Palka was handling the rape allegations against Les Moonves. Les Moonves was the guy who ran CBS for years. The woman making the allegation came to the station, filed a report because they said he essayed her. And Corey Palka then reached out to Les Moonves and said, "Hey man, let's go have lunch. I want to talk about some things." Gave the cop gave Les Moonves personal information about her, gave him a copy of the crime report that she filed, her personal information on it, all of that, which is he's being investigated right now. You never know what's going to happen because they don't hold cops accountable. But that's dirty. And I believe that Lurie was there at Hollywood Station with him together when that cover up was happening. Also, Corey Palka is, I believe, a Scientologist. He was the closest, out of all the LAPD cops over the years, he was probably the one who's the closest. I think a few weeks ago, or maybe it was a month ago, right around Christmas, maybe a little before, I was walking down Hollywood Boulevard and I saw 3 people standing there, and somebody said, "Oh my God, you're Streets LA, whatever. I watched all your videos for years." And they were there. There's 2 people visiting it, but there was somebody from my neighborhood was there with them. I guess they're friends. And the lady from the neighborhood told me that years before, Corey Palka was at a meeting with the community, and he was telling people, if we really want to fix the homeless problem, we got to do it the way that the Scientologists do it. And I'm thinking, what the fuck how does Scientologists don't do shit for the homeless community? Scientologists are always the first one just telling them to move or calling the cops on them. Like, what do they do? So it's just, he's just a sick, guy's a sick person. He's an awful person. Of course, there's always some sort of trace back to the Church of Scientology. So yeah, that's the case of Commander Lurie, the degenerate commander who is now the associate vice chancellor or whatever, campus security. Again, if you guys need to ask yourself, is this somebody that you want to see handling that job? For me, I'm good. That's not somebody that I think anybody should I don't think that's a person that should be running that situation. So yeah, I'm gonna check out some comments. I want to go over a few other things. Guys might see some changes right now. I know it'll piss some people off, right? I'm gonna make something very clear. I don't want any more drama. I said my piece about what I had to say. I'm not talking about any more drama anymore. My whole thing is people will try to draw you into drama because they don't have anything content to talk about. I got things that are important to me to talk about. I don't want to sit there and get caught up with other streamers in a fight over what? Who is that benefiting? It's benefiting the LAPD, is benefiting the Church of Scientology, whatever. I'm focused on what I want to focus on. You can focus on whatever you want. If you want to focus on me, I don't really give a shit. You know what I'm saying? I already deal with that ZDT guy. I could deal with another person doing it. But at the same time, right? I don't want the drama. I also don't want to be caught in drama with my moderators. And I saw last night there was a live stream. My moderators is getting this, feeding into the drama with it. And I understand it, right? Because you're getting attacked by some trolls coming into the chat and causing trouble. I get all that, right? And I, at the same time, is then don't be a moderator and you can avoid all that. If you're moderating my chats and stuff, the people in my chat don't want that drama. They don't care about that. What they want to see is I can do these things all day long, all night, giving you guys information. You guys can see how fucked up the LAPD is on a real level. I can show you that. What I don't want to be is distracted with drama on the side. I don't need that. There are not enough hours in a day. I didn't get started with this until 10:15, 10:20. I had wanted to do this at like 6 o'clock earlier in the day, but things are busy. I have a lot of things that are happening in my life constantly. I think people need to recognize that when you create more drama, perpetuate drama, it's just not good for it's not good for what I want to do, right? And like I said, free to do on your own, have that drama and worry about Reddit. I don't worry about Reddit. Why are you worried about Reddit? Why are you worried about Reddit? It just and so because of that, I got rid of a few mods, and like I said, I like them personally. I don't have anything against them personally. It's just that it comes back to me, the drama. I just don't want it. I want to focus on what I do. Period. Period. I only want to focus on this. I don't want to perpetuate the drama. I don't want to get updates about or talking about what Reddit said and all that stuff. Why are you watching? Why are you looking at that? This place is just toxic. So yeah, there were some changes. Like I said, I'm not addressing individuals out there who just they want the drama. I don't care. They can crash out on their own. Same time, I don't want my mods feeding into that either. It's bullshit. Don't need that. I apologize if I hurt your feelings and stuff, but man, 10-acre fire by the Getty. What? Which Getty? The Getty Villa? No, it's gotta be the Getty. These fires have got to stop, man. And the thing is what is it? We have potential rain on Sunday. Potential rain. Let's see let's see. Man, it's showing rain. 60% chance on Sunday, 55% chance on Monday. Man, we need it so bad. California. Here, let me pull it up. Let me show you this, guys. All right, let's take a look at this. So let's go through the rainfall. 2024, right? There it is. So 2024, we had no inches of rain in July, right? August, we had no inches of rain. September, no rain. October, no inches of rain. Now we don't really get rain in July and August and stuff. Still get a half an inch in October, November, we had 0.14 inches of rain. December, we had 0.02. Listen, we usually have two inches of rain, 4 inches of rain, And then so far in January, we have no rain. We usually get 3 inches, or seasonal monthly normal is 329. By this season, we usually have 7 inches of rain by now, and all we have is 0.16 when you combine November and December. Like, we need rain. We're in fire season is literally year round now. We used to have fire season, it's around August, September, October, November, it'd be fire season. Now we're having these devastating fires in January, and these high winds, no rain. It's what's going to happen. Yeah. Anyway, another damn fire. I was going to go to sleep. Now I'm thinking, man, I'm going to have to go out there to a damn fire. I already know Jessica's probably in her car driving. She loves that shit. Kathy said, let's see if I can do that. Dude, I'm actually nervous about the rain with all the fires. It's going to bring serious mudslides. Might as well say goodbye to PCH. That's so true. That's when the rain, again, you don't have the vegetation to hold the soil in place. So when it rains, all that soil is going to roll. If you guys are familiar, think of, I guess, like Temescal Canyon. There's like a park right there. It was a hiking trail up top. You go up to Skull Rock. All that area right there, it's all downhill. It's steep downhill too. So the rain's going to hit, and all of that Palisades community is just going to roll straight down to PCH right before you get to the beach. And I got to tell you, that's not good. Not good. Anyway, you guys got any questions? You want me to do something real quick? Yeah, actually, let's do this real quick. Let me think. What time is it? 11:46? No, I gotta go to sleep. I got too much to do tomorrow. Anyway, I'll be back on tomorrow, hopefully a lot earlier. I gotta get some rest because I'm fucking beat. I finally feel this. Today is the first day that I finally feel back to normal. I've had just intestinal issues for a week, just brutal. Like ways I haven't eaten shit in 7 days. I've eaten like nothing, drinking juice and a smoothie here and there if I can hold it down. What is the air quality like? Air quality. So if you look at your phone, it would say, "Oh, air quality is good," but they're telling you to wear an N95 mask because it's full of all these pollutants, toxins. Like I said, think of all the cars that burned up, all the houses, all the plastics, all the oils. Think of air is full of lead. Yeah, let me show you one more thing. Let me show you one more thing. I want to talk about this guy real quick. I mean, we're going to talk about creepy cops. Let's talk about this creepy cop. You guys want to hear about another creepy cop real quick? What's his name? Jaramila. 1 second. See if I can find this. There we go. All right. This cretin right here. This guy. So this guy is a really special case. First off, he's a detective for LAPD. He's also a huge creep who makes a shit ton of money. You see here between his total pay and benefits, $302,000 last year. He made in just cash alone $291,000 in just cash, another $11,000 in personal benefits. It's pretty shameful. So let me pull this up. So when I went to his file, I was like, okay, what does this guy do? Because he has this internal affairs file. And it said essentially that a woman had been a victim of a crime. She knew this guy and this detective called him up and said, hey, I need help with this. I need advice on something. And he said, yeah, come down. This guy is an LAPD cop, but he was working on a DEA task force. And he said, hey, come down to our task force location. I'll talk to you about it. Had her come down there. He was the only one in the building. Had her come inside through all these checkpoints and stuff. She started telling him about her problem, and he immediately started pulling down her pants and kind of forced her to have sex in the building. And she filed a complaint about it. And long story short, let me see here. Let me see what the actual disposition were. So they found him guilty of counts 1 through 5 and 7. So let's see what these say. So you got a 22-day suspension for this. 22-day suspension. How the fuck do you keep your job, guys? How the fuck do you keep your job after something like that? Department alleges that so they call it, he had sexual intercourse. The department alleges that on November 22nd, 2011, Detective Jaramillo, is that how I pronounce it? Jaramillo, while on duty, engaged in sexual intercourse with redacted at a federal task force office. Our allegations 1 through 4 are very similar in nation to allegation 5, which was also appropriately classified as sustained. There's a preponderance of evidence to demonstrate that Detective Jaramillo violated fair labor standards, because he also listen. If you're gonna have sex with somebody on duty, should you get paid for it? And so their thing is, if you didn't, you were on duty and you were he was getting overtime, and this is what he was doing. So it was an inappropriate use of overtime. It's just, yeah, I was just going through his stuff today, so I figured I'd bring him up. But guys, let me see here. So, allegation one: the department alleges that on November 8th, Detective Jaramillo, I don't know how to pronounce that, while on duty, submitted inaccurate overtime in violation of FLSA 1 through 4 are all the same. Actually, all first 5 allegations are the same. The 6th allegation is redacted. It's probably said because he did some old, really fucked up shit. But they're like, yeah, let's redact it. Allegation 7, department alleges that on November 22nd, 2011, the department, while on duty, engaged in inappropriate behavior at department facility. Allegation 8, department alleges that on November 22nd, 2011, Romeo on duty allowed an unauthorized person into a confidential building operated by a federal entity. So this is the thing, it was a confidential building. He's bringing in there you can call it what you want. It, you can call it what you want. They had sex, they're making it sound like, oh, they had sex. It's not what she said. Then allegation 9, yeah. Then after that, I guess he was calling her while he was on duty. He harassed her when he continually texted her and made inappropriate comments. He was texting her after this, making inappropriate comments while on duty. So yeah, redacted. Let's see here. What other information do we have on this? Summary of the investigation. He told her that he would assist in her investigation. He texted the work address, told her that he would take her to dinner at a nearby restaurant when she arrived. So she wanted to talk about this, and he's like, "Okay, I'm going to take you to dinner, and we can talk about it over there," which is crazy, right? He provided her with screenshots of so she provided Internal Affairs with screenshots of the original text messages from this cop inviting her to the building. So that's been documented, and she provided that to them. When they arrived, he swiped some kind of identification to gain access to the building. He escorted her inside to his desk, where he completed some reports. Redacted sat next to him at the desk and waited. Afterwards, he took her somewhere to the rear of the office and then wanted to hear all about her incident. She broke down in tears and told him what had happened to her. He held her in comfort. This cop then took her into an adjacent office where he removed her leggings, and proceeded to have sexual intercourse with her. She's sitting here crying about how she had just been violated. And you can't, if you look at the language they're using here, it sounds like she may have been talking about how she had been assaulted by somebody else. And so he saw it as being appropriate to, let me hear your story. She's crying, and he takes her into another room and pulls down her leggings and had sex. Like I said, so no one else was present at the time. Redacted did not want to have sex with him and told him no at first, but he continued to pressure her until she felt if she did not engage with him, he would not follow through with assisting her on an investigation. Guys, I gotta tell you, this guy is on duty pressuring a woman into sex. She came there thinking she was gonna get help on an investigation, and this is how he treated her. How is this not considered sexual assault? Like, how is it a 22-day suspension? 22-day suspension? Oh, it's just kind of outrageous, man. So remember, when you're dealing with that guy, let me pull up his picture again. This fucking creep. This guy right here. The guy who we're paying $300,000 a year to be on some sort of plainclothes task force with the DEA. And this is what he's doing at prohibited and, sort of secret facilities, secret DEA facilities. This is what he did. And Captain Lurie wants to tell me how, these cops are highly professional and they're just this and that. This is what I'm seeing right here. And a woman's getting pulled over in my neighborhood, right? And being taken to a dark street. What if it was this guy? What if it was this guy right here? What would he do? We already see what he does inside of DEA offices. What could happen out there in the street, in a dark street? So anyway, this is what I deal with. These are the type of things I fight against. I can show you lots of other, and in fact, tomorrow night I'll show you more. I'll show you. Maybe we'll talk about. Remember Espadas? He's the guy. The lady was 5150. He kept her personal information and stuff. As soon as she got out of the hospital, she's suing him, alleging that she had been raped by him. And when the allegations came forward, he didn't deny them. He immediately went and resigned. And then she filed this lawsuit. And right now, he works at SpaceX. And he has a security clearance, the Department of Defense security clearance, which is like, if you have a lawsuit against you, first off, you have a lawsuit against you, you can't get security clearance. So he obviously didn't disclose that to SpaceX. Additionally, he hasn't been decertified as a California police officer, so he can go work at another police department in California. And he should be in jail. He should be in jail. You're taking advantage of somebody he does not deny having sex. He's trying to say he was consensual. I don't even know if you could consensual with a 5150 patient and you're a cop using your. I can't. I'm not accepting that. So again, these are the type of people. In North Hollywood, right over here, not far away, they have another cop over there. He's got caught picking up strippers and having sex with them in the police car while on duty. He wasn't even just doing it off duty. He was doing it on duty. He got suspended and he's still on the force. He's still on the force. Listen, I say this again. I told the police chief this at the LAPD commission meeting. The police are running around saying it. When I was at the CPAB meeting, Audit LA was there. I don't think either one of us were live. We're just filming. The police are talking about how they can't recruit enough cops. They want to have 10,000 cops. They have 8,750, and they're losing more every day. And they're saying, well, it's the media's fault. The media is just giving us a bad reputation, and that's causing people to not want to join the police force. It's not the media's fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. The LAPD, the media is not creating this reputation. The LAPD is creating their own reputation. And again, if you look at why they're having these recruiting calls, listen, there's empirical data there to show exactly what their problem is. Women are 52% of the population. Women are 21% of the police force. They're way underrepresented. Why? Because women don't want to join the LAPD and deal with these lunkheads who don't take sexual assault, sexual harassment, or sexual crimes seriously. So why would you want to be associated with that? The LAPD does not have a media problem. The LAPD has a woman problem. They are toxic to women. And so because of that, they can't recruit enough cops. It's not only that, since you're not getting women, you have to make up for it with men, and you end up lowering standards for men. So they're just taking all these lunkheads who are just the worst of the worst. And then it's a concentrated amount of men on the force because nearly 80% of men, they're trying to outdo themselves with who's more macho or not. It's like, what a toxic ass environment. And you want to blame the media? No, blame yourself. Look at your own issues. You don't take these things seriously. Like I said, Lillian Carranza, I went and fought for her harder than the police union did. They threw her on the bus. They took her to court and started trying to sue her recently. But she was being sexually harassed. She went to Chief Moore, the old chief, and said, "Hey, I'm being sexually harassed." He says, "I don't want to say anything publicly or internally in the department because if I address this, it might go viral." He said this on the stand in court. He admitted it. And because of that, we lost $4 million. She won $4 million because of it. Taxpayers are paying for it. We have paid $11 million since 2019 just settling sexual harassment cases in the LAPD. Again, it's a toxic culture. You see the way that they treat women. And now they are trying to export this into UCLA's campus with Commander Lurie with his pompous ass. Again, you guys, anybody, if you know somebody who's at UCLA, you know anybody who has kids at UCLA, you tell them about this story. Tell them about Commander Lurie. Tell them about this culture. And have them reach out to the administration at UCLA and ask them, is this the type of person we want to have on campus running things? I think not. I think not. Like I said, I came to him and I asked for just basic guidance. What should a woman do if she is pulled over by a cop and he wants to take her to a different area? And he didn't want to answer the question. He started blaming everything. The other cop, complaint supervisor Chow, he's like, well, she's kind of clueless. Fuck you. Like, how? First off, fuck you. How dare you? She's kind of clueless. He's like spinning it on her. It's her fault now. It's her fault. Just give her the fucking ticket and go about your business. Tell her to park her car. Have somebody pick it up. But don't want to catch you driving over here. The way you guys always do. It's how you guys always do. Yeah, shit, you are better off the cop having to tow your car than have him take you to another area. Because again, for all you know, it might be this asshole who's pulling you over. As for Escobar, oh yeah, I didn't even get into the other part with the original story. So yeah, they tried to prosecute me, and I had a meeting with the city attorney, and they said, "Listen, we need more William Goods out there, but you have to be legal with what you do. You can't just illegally record people." My lawyer said he didn't illegally record anybody. The law is on our side. If you want to take this to court, take it to court. It's like, well, we're gonna have to consider it now. They didn't consider shit. They actually said, if you don't record the cops illegally again over the next 6 months, we'll just drop this and let it go away. I'm telling you, half an hour later, I was immediately calling the police station, recording the complaint supervisor, and then send the recording over to the police chief. Like what? Do it. I want this fight because the law is on my side. And what are you doing it for? You're coming after me because I'm exposing this cop taking this woman to the other side of fucking neighborhood? You're coming after me? Come after your own cop. What are you getting mad at me for? Get mad at the people who are covering up this shit. Coming after me. You want to put me in jail for exposing it. It's dirty. It's fucking dirty. So yeah, that's where we're at. Anyway, guys, that is enough tonight. I guess it's been wow, it's been longer than I thought. I was like, I'm gonna do this for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and here we are. Anyway, guys, I'm going to sleep. Shout out to the mods. Take care. No drama, guys. I don't want the drama. I don't give a fuck about the drama. Let people talk. I don't care. Don't care. Done with it. Let them crash out. Anyway, take care, guys. Watch out for those cops. And remember, if they want to take you to a second scene, call 911 or call William. Anyway, take care, guys.